While I was an undergraduate at Oxford, I was given a pet white rabbit who I thought was a boy called Agathon, and he lived in my room in the Catholic chaplaincy. He lived in a fireplace. And then the Catholic chaplain at the time decided he wanted my room, and I was supposed to have a terribly small room, which had been the previous Catholic chaplain. And so shortly after that, I left. This fellow then, as I was moving out, he knocked on the door once and he said, "Can I ask a personal question?" And I said, "Well, yes." And he said, "Have you had an animal in here?" And I said, "I don't know what you mean." He said, "An animal, a rabbit, a gerbil, a hamster, an animal." I said, "Well, a small one." "A small what?" "A small rabbit." "A rabbit's not not small," he said. "I've never met anyone like you, and I hope I never do again." And with a flourish of black velvet, he was gone from my life. I must say I was quite pleased. But imagine walking into a pet shop, and the rabbit then had a very pleasant time in North Oxford, and I discovered that the rabbit. On one occasion, I used to take the rabbit for walks in Christchurch Meadows. I bought a yellow lead and paraded down the street with my rabbit, who hopped along quite happily, nimbly. And on one occasion, I was in Christchurch Meadows, and I looked down, and the rabbit wasn't there. And I thought, how has that happened? And I saw the sort of tufty bits of ears lolloping through the cow pastures, so I had to climb a few fences and rustle around in the grass for probably an hour or so until I'd located him, and it was about 2 hours anyway. And we moved to another place in North Oxford, and a few weeks later, I can't remember how long, my rabbit suddenly gave birth, and I realised my rabbit was not a boy at all, and that clearly something miraculous had happened on that afternoon in Christchurch Meadows, as indeed you'd expect. Anyway, the point is, you might walk into a pet shop over Easter, your child tugging onto your sleeve, eyes alight with dreams of floppy-eared friends named Flopsy or Agathon, and then horror, you're met not with a rabbit, but with the sign "No bunnies this Easter," a ban, a temporary moratorium, a most British refusal, polite but firm. Pets at Home, the UK's largest pet retailer, has announced it will halt the sale and adoption of rabbits from April the 18th to April the 21st. This, we are told, is not a fluke, it's a deliberate, repeated and grounded in ethics decision. So the Easter Bunny blackout is not a whimsical protest against chocolate or springtime frivolity. No, this is a protective gesture, an attempt to shield rabbits from becoming victims of seasonal impulse. Because every year, just as the Easter egg shelves are emptied, rescue centres are filled. And PETA UK estimates that 4 in 5 rabbits purchased around Easter are abandoned or die within 12 months. Think about that. 80% vanish into neglect, misunderstanding, or quiet despair. And the problem, the rabbit, so often presented as a child's first pet, cuddly, docile, low maintenance, is anything but. As Pets at Home puts it, rabbits are not that easy. They're not an easy pet, even though they're thought of as easy. My rabbit required a lot of attention. They require complex diets, specific environmental conditions, social companionship. They're not ornaments, nor are they toys. Of course, rabbits occupy a mythic role at this time of year. The Easter Bunny, a curious confection of folklore and capitalism, appears with baskets of eggs, a pagan symbol of fertility refashioned for the modern chocolate industry. I think it might be American, an American import, but we've taken a deeply symbolic creature and turned it into a seasonal mascot, much like a turkey at Christmas or a pumpkin at Halloween. What happened to Guy Fawkes? And so we confuse the emblem with the animal. And the dissonance between symbol and sentient being is precisely what Pets at Home seeks to address. The bunny is not a bar of chocolate. It doesn't come wrapped in foil. It doesn't expire in a cupboard. Well, it might, unfortunately. But it does suffer from short-sighted decisions. Pets at Home, the new policy, now annual, presents a situation where Purchases are halted, adoptions stopped across 460 stores. Signs on doors explain the decision. Staff are instructed to encourage education over acquisition. The message is simple: we put pets before profit. It's a rather un-British form of retail behaviour, refusing custom, but perhaps it's a kind of leadership we need more of. In an age of fast everything, fast fashion, fast food, fast decisions, it's rare and refreshing to find a retailer advocating for slowness, deliberation and responsibility. No, you can't have a Volvo. Not over Christmas. This gesture becomes even more relevant when we consider the deeper crisis of rabbit welfare. The Rabbit Welfare Association has described the current state as the worst rabbit rescue crisis ever. In the UK, there are approximately 800,000 rabbits, making them the third most popular companion after cats and dogs. Yet unlike dogs and cats, anyone can breed and sell rabbits. No license, no inspection, no regulation. And the result, inexperienced breeders missex litters, sell too young. Well, my rabbit was missexed. Provide no guidance and often create a glut of unwanted animals. Many are handed off to overwhelmed shelters. Others are simply abandoned to the fox. So what does all this mean? On one level, it's a minor retail decision. On another, it's a small but powerful act of ethical retailing, civic duty, and cultural correction. It asks us, rather bluntly, shouldn't all pet ownership come with a cooling-off period? Shouldn't animals be protected from the chaos of impulse? We don't allow children to drive cars or adults to buy pharmaceuticals without instruction, yet somehow a living creature, a bunny, capable of bonding and bounding, suffering and fear, is purchased like a seasonal gift. The ban is a reminder that stewardship, whether of animals, children's or the planet, requires thought, not impulse, time, not trend. So, this Easter, perhaps we should consider skipping the bunny in a cage and sticking with one in chocolate, one that melts, the other that matures. One disappears with the season, the other demands years of care and love. Pets at Home has made a quiet but significant stand for animal welfare. Let's hope more retailers follow their example. But I don't think it's a seasonal impulse. I don't think even if you buy a rabbit now, it's about commitment. I don't think it's the job of the store to enforce these policies or indeed these principles. The Easter bunny may be mythical, may be tiresome, but the suffering of real rabbits is not. And it doesn't matter what time of year you buy an animal. That's an investment in responsibility. And that's something every child should be taught and every adult should take seriously. It's not something that we need the shops to impose, quite frankly.